Okay, so we're now going to continue working on this terrain. So in this area up here where we seemingly have a path, I actually want the player to head toward that. So I need to put something up there which is going to make them want to go up there. So I'm actually going to take this wooden crate, put this up here. So it's like, oh, okay, what's that? Let me go up toward that. Okay, just place it down onto the ground, and that's going to be something that you can then smash and you know, find something from within there. I also want to start putting some trees down as well. Now you can actually paint trees directly onto a terrain, but I want to start placing some of these trees so that I've got more control over them. And I'm going to use this pine tree double-sided. Okay, so I'm just going to drag this in. So notice that we get a pretty good size from that. So that's the kind of tree next to the character. So it's pretty good size. Let me delete that one out. Yeah, so I'm just basically going to drag a few of these around. Just hand place a few where I think they might look interesting. Okay, and then over here I actually want another wooden crate. I also want some mushrooms. Okay, so we can see that we've got some nice little mushrooms hanging around. So let's just put some of those down. In fact, I might actually put a few of these in here. Okay, that makes it look interesting. And then obviously we also need little bits of grass as well, so put a few little bits of grass here and there, just to give it a little bit of interest. And with each of these bits of grass, if I've got it selected and I press F, it will take me really close to it. And I can just make sure that that is actually going into the ground. So I'll just press F. Okay, and then this one, and press F. Make sure it's going into the ground. This one, F. Okay, great. Oh, and then F. Mushrooms. Let me just double check. And then on this one as well, let me just check that it is actually on the ground, not floating above it. Wooden crate. And obviously you can use your snapping as well, so you could use your grids to do that if you want. Yep, alright, so I'm quite happy with that. I might also maybe want to put in a rock somewhere, so I'll try one of these because these look really nice. This Rock 01. It comes in absolutely gigantic. So let me just scale this down actually. Something like this, I think. So in my inspector that's 0.071922. And what I'm going to do is change the name of this. So let me change it to Rock 01 Small. And then in the project I can then drag this in to create a new prefab, an original prefab, and then I should have that one so that I can drag that in every time without having to resize it. So let me just press F to get closer to that. It looks really nice. It's got this really nice hand painted kind of quality to it, and I might just rotate that around a little bit. Just make sure it's push down a little bit. That looks good. Okay, and then Control and D, maybe put one further down here as well. Okay, good. And I might also just put one over here as well. I'll just make this one slightly bigger, rotate it around, and then just dig it into the ground there. Okay, yeah, so that looks kind of interesting. Obviously you walk along the grass, you find those objects, and then up here we're going to need some kind of a path to be leading off here. So if we take a look at our terrain textures, we've got either the dry dirt or the dirt 0, 1. I might try going for this dry dirt. Let's see what this looks like. So in the terrain then, on the island, on the paint texture, I'm just going to click edit terrain layers, create a layer, and it's going to be dry dirt. There it is. Okay, I don't think I've got a normal for this one, so it's just standard, and I'm going to bump my opacity up to about a 9.7. Maybe my brush size just a little bit bigger, and then basically I can then paint in kind of this dry dirt layer. I'm thinking that might be actually a little bit too much. It's a little bit too strong. So what I'm going to do is go back to the grass, just paint over it to get rid of it. Okay, so back to the new layer, brush size, just make it a little bit smaller, and opacity, bring this way down. So notice now the grass is kind of blending in with this layer now. So you just have to click and drag in order to kind of set this. And obviously the longer you're painting over it, the more opaque it becomes. Okay, so it doesn't look so weird anymore, because now you've got this interesting kind of a thing going on. I'm just going to lower my opacity way down so I can blend the two there, so it looks like it's blending into that path. Okay. Yep, so that's interesting. Let's have a look at the scale on this. So I might actually just make it a little bit smaller. So I might make it maybe 1 by 1. Yep, so it's not quite as big. Alright, so I think that looks fine. Now I might also want a really big kind of tree going on here. So if I go back to my main prefabs, should have a really big tree somewhere. There it is, tree 1. Bring this in, and this is, yeah, really big tree. Okay. Yep, alright, I think that's quite nice. What else could we put in here? Could also put some of these rocks, okay, which come in really, really small. So maybe the scale, I'll make it about a 10 by 10 by 10. Okay, just so that it's a lot bigger. These are quite unpainted kind of rocks, and just put those in there to make it look interesting. Yeah, that's fine. And then obviously some more grass as well. So let me find my grass. So I'll just press F on each of these, just make sure that they are in the ground. Okay, great. Yep, so that's an interesting start. All right. Now we do also have these side bits here that are going to need a little bit of detail going on here. So what I might do here is take the really big rock again, just bring this in, and have these almost coming out of out of this side. So once again, I'm going to duplicate that, bring it over, rotate this around. Yep, something like this. Control and D again. And bring this over here like this, maybe bring it out a bit more. Yep, okay, I think that's fine. Control and D, another one. This time I might just lift this one up a little bit more. Bring it out. Just rotate that one around just a little bit more. Okay. Might do something very similar on this side. So once again, that big rock, let's just bring it in, down, push it into the terrain. Control and D. Maybe something like that should be good. Okay, so it looks like you've got your natural rock formations going on. Control and D, and I'll bring it this way this time. Yeah, all right, so starting to get that kind of level of detail going on now. So as we're adding over to this side, I might actually have one of these, if I can find it, one of these platforms. So I might just take a platform, bring it out here like this. Just make sure that's firmly down on the ground. Okay, and on this one I might actually just place a treasure chest, if I can find one. I'm sure there's one in here somewhere. There it is, chest. Just put an actual treasure chest on there. Just rotate that round slightly so that it fits. And obviously that's an incentive to kind of go that way. So I'll just rotate that around a little bit. So as you open that, you can actually reveal some kind of treasure in there. Doesn't look very centered. We've also got some flowers as well. So if we just click in the flowers folder, we've also got some of these that we can just put around different places. Just makes it look a little bit more interesting. Okay. Yep, I think I'm quite happy with those. And obviously, once again, just make sure that those flowers are actually in the ground. They should be, but it's just a case of then double checking. And now we need to start cleaning up the hierarchy again. So what I recommend that you do is just create like an empty game object for flowers. Okay, you've already got one for grass, and then the ones for rocks, etc. If you do that by the next video.